This is a 3-mark question that appeared in 2018 CBSE Class 10 board paper. This question had two alternatives. Both these alternatives appeared from coordinate geometry. This one, the first alternative, tests concepts properties of parallelograms. Let's solve this in this video. In a separate video, in the next video, we'll look at the second alternative, which was also a coordinate geometry question. Let's get started with this. ABCD are the vertices of a parallelogram ABCD. Find the values of A and B. That's part 1. What are A and B? Look at this. A is the x-coordinate of vertex B and B is the y-coordinate of vertex C. So we need to find out both these values. Hence, find the lengths of its sides. So after finding out A and B, we need to compute the lengths of the sides of this parallelogram. Let's get started with the first part, finding out A and B. ABCD is a parallelogram we are talking about. The only property of parallelogram that you need to know to solve this question is that the diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. AC is a diagonal, BD is a diagonal. They meet at this point. Let's say this point is O. At point O, they bisect each other. O is essentially the midpoint of both AC and BD. So the coordinates of midpoint of AC will be equal to the coordinates of midpoint of BD. If you know the endpoints of the line segment AC, let's say the endpoints coordinates are x1, y1 and x2, y2, then the coordinates of the midpoint of a line segment whose coordinates are endpoints are x1, y1, x2, y2 is x1 plus x2 by 2. The midpoint coordinates are x1 plus x2 by 2, comma y1 plus y2 by 2. We're going to apply this for both AC and for BD. Let's start with AC. The coordinates are minus 2, comma 1 and 4, comma b. So x1 plus x2 by 2 will be a minus 2 plus 4 by 2. y1 plus y2 by 2 will be a 1 plus b by 2. So these are the coordinates of point O as measured as the midpoint of AC. Let's run through the same exercise of finding out the coordinates of point O as measured as a midpoint of BD. So if you're looking at it as BD, x1 plus x2 in this case will be a plus 1 by 2 and y1 plus y2 by 2 will be equal to 0 plus 2 by 2. So we have found out the coordinates of O as measured as a midpoint of AC and as a midpoint of BD. But both of these are basically the coordinates of the same point O. So we can equate the x from both these parts, the x coordinate from both these parts, and we can equate the y coordinate from both these parts. Let's set about doing that. Minus 2 plus 4 is a plus 2 by 2, which is equal to 1. So this is the x coordinate as measured from the left hand side. The x coordinate as measured from the right hand side is an a plus 1 by 2. So we're equating these two. Let's repeat the same exercise for the y coordinate. Y coordinate as measured from midpoint of AC is a 1 plus b by 2. As measured as a midpoint of BD is 2 by 2, which is equal to 1. Solve equation 1 separately, equation 2 separately. Find the values of A and B. Cross multiply these two. So we'll have 2 equals A plus 1. If we take 1 to the left hand side, we'll get the value of A to be equal to 1. So you found out the value of A. Let's run through the same exercise here. Cross multiply these two. We'll get 1 plus B is equal to 2. Take 1 to the right hand side, we'll get the value of B to be equal to 1. So A equals 1, B equals 1. We have found out the first part, which is finding out the values of A and B. Quickly summarize it in a printed form. Coordinates of the midpoint are x1 plus x2 by 2, y1 plus y2 by 2. As measured for AC, this is that. As measured for BD, this is going to be the value. We're going to equate the x coordinate on both sides and y coordinate on both sides. So this is what we end up with. So 1 will be equal to A plus 1 by 2. 1 plus b by 2 will be equal to 1. Solving for A and B, we get A equals 1 and B equals 1. Now what will be the coordinates of the point? The A is replaced with a 1 and B is also replaced with a 1. Part 2 is finding out the lengths of the sides of the parallelogram. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. So AB will be the same as CD and BC will be the same as AD. Let's find out the coordinates of point AB. Coordinates, not the coordinates of point AB, we'll find out the length of the line segment AB. Length of a line segment joined by 2 points x1, y1, x2, y2 is given by the formula under root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. Length of line segment AB therefore will be, these are our coordinates. Let's take the coordinates of B as x2, y2 and that of A as x1, y1. So length of AB is equal to x2 minus x1, which is 1 minus of minus 2 whole square. So x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, which is 0 minus 1 the whole square. This works out to 1 minus of minus 2 is a 2 plus 2. So 1 plus 2 is a 3. 3 square equals 9. plus minus 1 square is a 1. So the length of line segment AB or side AB of this parallelogram is equal to under root 10. Let's find out the length of line segment BC. Length of line segment BC will take x2, y2 as the coordinates of C and x1, y1 as the coordinates of B. So we'll run through the same exercise again. x2 minus x1 in this case will be equal to 4 minus 1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 will be equal to 1 minus 0 the whole square. This is equal to under root of 4 minus 1 is a 3. 3 square is equal to 9 plus 1 square is a 1. So this works out to root 10. AB measures root 10. BC also measures root 10, which essentially points to the fact that CD and AD will also measure root 10 each. If all four sides of a parallelogram measure the same, then the parallelogram is actually a rhombus. So this is a special property of a parallelogram. It's not just a parallelogram, it actually is a rhombus. Quickly summarize computing the length in a printed form. Measure of AB equals root 10. Measure of BC equals root 10. Because measure of AB equals measure of BC. This is the rhombus that we are talking about.
Supercharge your math quotient. Sign up today for online CBSE math classes at online.maxtute.com. I'll repeat it. It's online.maxtute.com. And before you leave, check out the related videos and remember to subscribe to this channel.